Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
You want to do NHL top 5, bottom 5? I'm interested to get your take if you agree. For DraftKings. Here we go. My top 5, bottom 5 teams of the National Hockey League entering the final week of the regular season. The number 1 team in the NHL. You won't believe this probably, but it's true. It's the Dallas Stars, the Rodney Dangerfields of the National Hockey League. They've won 10 of 11. Number 1 team, Dallas. Number 2, the New York Rangers. Because if you open the app and you look right now, New York's number 1. And number 1 is number 1. I just think they're a false number 1. The number 3 team in the NHL is the Carolina Hurricanes. They are DraftKings betting favorite to win the Stanley Cup. 1, Dallas. 2, the Rangers. 3, Carolina Hurricanes. 4, the Boston Bruins. Hashtag unfinished business. And the 5th best team in the NHL is the Vancouver Canucks. You're welcome, Kevin the Medium. They deserve it. They deserve it. That's the top 5. The bottom 5 are these in reverse chronological order. The 28th team is the Ottawa Senators. Who's going to be coaching them next year? That's what I'd like to know. The 29th team in the NHL is the Chicago Blackhawks, because when you have Bedard, you always have a chance. The 30th team is the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like, let's just end the season, please. They're here tonight after blowing it in Tampa on Tuesday. The second worst team is the Anaheim Ducks. Although, watch out, they might bite you. The LA Kings figured that out the other night. They're the 31st team in the NHL, and the 32nd team is the San Jose Sharks. Circling the toilet bowl. Just go down already. And I hope they win the lottery, because they've done everything they can do to tank it. So that's my top 5, bottom 5 in the NHL. Read them and weep.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy.
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. And remember that night that I yelled in the bubble at Bob? Great call, Bobby! I yelled at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Football Friday. It's another day where, actually, it's the last day that I'm in steamy, hot Florida for a while. And we'll tell you about why that is a little later on. Darren Moose Dupont joins us. He's in Toronto. I was actually just sitting back and enjoying the intro, Darren. That seemed like another time you and I broadcasting in the bubble, the Western Hockey League season, Connor Bedard's rookie year. Remember that? Can't believe that I did that I yelled, "Good call, Bobby," to the referee, and the rink was empty because it was a bubble.
I can't either.
Everybody looked at me. Yeah, I know. That seems like a century ago. Anyways, Football Friday, lots to get to. Our guests today are Jim Barker, Kelly Rempel, and Dan Giancola. And can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Bryce? So Bryce is not with us today. Number 1, we're jumping right into it, man, because we got a lot to get to because Barks is coming up in the next segment. So number 1. The big story, even though it's a Football Friday, we'll save the football for the football guys. Here's the big story. Masters champion Scotty Scheffler was arrested this morning on his way to the PGA Championship with stunning images showing him handcuffed as he was taken to jail for not following police orders during a pedestrian fatality investigation. In a span of 4 hours, the top-ranked golfer in the world was arrested wearing gym shorts and a T-shirt, dressed in an orange jail shirt for his mugshot, and returned to Valhalla Golf Club in golf clothes and made his 10:08 a.m. second-round tee time. Dude, not even Happy Gilmore had a story this preposterous and hard to believe. This morning I was getting ready, updating rodpedersen.com, getting ready to go to the gym, and I saw the headline across the Canadian press wire, Scotty Scheffler in handcuffs, morning of PGA. Whatever. I didn't even pay attention to it. That's too hard to believe. And then I run to the gym, listen, I'm on the treadmill at Johnny. Yeah. ESPN radio's all over it. NHL radio's over it. We've all heard it. We all know the story. Scotty Scheffler arrested. There's more to the story. But the cop arresting officer saying he's going to jail because he did not heed police orders on his way into the golf course. Like, what the hell? You're a golf person, Darren. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's a pretty wild story. And, you're talking about the number one player in the world. And a separate issue, Andrew Brandt brought this up on Twitter or X this morning. He said, my mind went to, how come the number one player in the world wasn't recognized by police officers, first of all? But that's a separate sidebar to this. Just wild, but, unfortunately and tragically, there was a person that was hit by, a shuttle bus, I believe, and killed this morning, and thoughts go out to the family and the rest. And so the police was there and they're on high alert and all the rest. So you get it. Almost like that security guard tackling Adam Hadwin on the green at the RBC Canadian Open last year. You're just in the moment trying to make sure everybody's safe and protected, and you're taking the utmost precaution. But this was a little bit too far. And once you realize who you just arrested, just before his tee time of a major, the number one player in the world, like, this cop is going to have some severe paperwork to do and a lot of splaining to do.
Yeah, what if Scotty Scheffler didn't follow orders and broke the law? Have we thought about that? Like,
it could have happened. Yeah.
Not to be a fly in the ointment here, but like, who's Andrew Brandt to say, doesn't he know who this is? If he broke the law, you're going to jail. I'm sorry. The guy's doing his job. I can't believe that we are 4 minutes into today's episode and we're having a mini argument over this, because I can tell you a million stories. We kind of got into this a while back, not that long ago, on this show about celebrities not being recognized trying to enter the venue where they're about to perform or coach or generally. I said Alan Jackson, right? Couldn't get into Craven. They didn't know who he was at the front gate. I don't have any problem believing that. Eric Tillman couldn't get into Taylor Field because the security people didn't know. What do you mean they don't know? Probably my favorite ever story is I was doing an event with Marcus Allen, the Hall of Famer, Raiders running back, Damon's brother. He said the Super Bowl, I believe, was in Los Angeles. And he had a rental car, and he showed up 2 hours before kickoff. Just to picture this: Marcus Allen, Raiders running back, in a rental car, pulling up at the parking lot. Yeah, hi, I'm playing in the game. Where's your pass, sir? Well, I don't have one, but I'm the starting running back today in the game, in the Super Bowl. If you don't have a pass, you're not getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Because 31 years as a play-by-play guy, I was adding it up just yesterday. I've never had an issue getting into the venue. Do you know why? Because I always have the passes. I don't try to big-time anybody. Never have. So my thing is, who cares if he's Scotty Scheffler? Everybody else has to follow the traffic rules. As you said, there was a fatality. So are we on the same page, you and I, or are we nowhere near on the same page on this?
No, I think we're on the same page. Andrew Brandt wasn't saying this is Scotty Scheffler, you should know who he is. He was more taking it down another path of, like, this is an issue with golf, that you're number one player in the world. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody to recognize that it's Scotty Scheffler, a random cop. If it was Tiger Woods, super, highly recognizable, they'd have known who Tiger Woods was. But, it's funny, and that's what you got to deal with. And the PGA Tour's got to deal with it. You get sent to jail, they're not asking questions. Like, there's somebody out there, there's a fatality that happened. You're trying to get the right people. Yeah.
Navy Don says he's lucky he wasn't shot. Shouldn't matter. Follow the orders, Scotty. I agree. Carlos in Indianapolis. One time I traded a field pass for a media pass because a journalist didn't know if his media pass could get him onto the sideline. Thank you for that. No, it's follow the orders, bro. Literally, who do you think you are type thing. How does he not know? It reminds me, before we move on to the next topic, and I feel like a lot of our topics, Darren, are going to carry over into hour two. We're not going to get through them all here today. But in Arizona, when my good friend Gary Drummond owned the Coyotes along with 9 other people, right at the security gate, there was 10 headshots of all the owners. So when he was coming into the rink, it was 10 guys. Don't cancel me for saying, could have been a woman. It wasn't. All 10 owners were there. So when one of them was coming into the rink, the security guard could go, yeah. They're there making $11 an hour. They're not paid to know who you are. They're paid to keep the place secure, and you better have the proper pass. So I'm on the cop side, and I will always be on the side of law enforcement. Please and thank you. Now, 902-518-3033, the number to text us here. By the way, this is my last show. I'm going on vacation next week and coming back to Canada. Quite frankly, I'm excited about it. And I'm not just buttering up Canadian law enforcement. I really mean it. NHL leftovers. JT Miller scored with 33 seconds remaining to lead Vancouver to a victory over Edmonton that put them 3-2, right? That put them in a win away for the Western Conference Final. Carson Soucy and Philip De Giuseppe both scored in their returns to the lineup for Vancouver, which will try to wrap up the series in Game 6 Saturday in Edmonton. Rookie Arturs Silovs made 21 saves for the Canucks. And in Raleigh, Chris Kreider had a third-period hat trick to help the Rangers erase a 2-goal deficit and beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-3 in Game 6 Thursday night to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. So those are the two games from last night. I didn't watch, any of the Edmonton-Vancouver game. I went to bed. I'm old, and I'm not apologizing for it. But, Darren, maybe you did too because you're in the Eastern time zone. But what I'm hearing is the Oilers aren't playing well. Somebody, please, that's been watching it, tell me if that's true or not. Dave Babbage was on here yesterday, and he was wonderful in terms of being a Vancouver Canucks alumni, but also from Edmonton. He's clearly cheering for the Canucks, but he's not so blind that he can't appreciate what Edmonton might bring to the table. But he's like, Vancouver is a vastly superior team, and they're up 3-2 and can close it out this weekend. Are you watching that? Because, again, I'm not, and I thought Carolina was going to the Stanley Cup, so clearly I know nothing. Way to go, Rangers. Your take on the NHL from last night, please.
Canucks are a great team. That's the big thing. And you talked earlier in the week about Rick Tocchet and a master class of coaching that he's done. You know, some tinkering to the lineup he's had to do. You know, he knows in the media he's called out certain guys, not really directly, but in the right way. He's getting the most out of his group. And again, the Oilers go up early. Canucks battle back and tie it. You know, there was some weird penalty calls, but here's what stood out to me. McDavid and Draisaitl were a combined -4 last night. They each only had 2 shots on goal. So Vancouver's doing a lot of really great things defensively. As much as, you know, maybe they're all playing the Oilers, they're really protecting the middle of the ice. They're taking away the Oilers' strengths. And the other thing that stood out for me, which I thought was bizarre last night, these two teams combined to go 0 for 9 on the power play. Like the Oilers were 0 for 5. Like that never happens with that group. They're usually scoring 25 seconds into every power play. And the Canucks have a great power play too. So, you know, these two teams are settling down defensively. It's not a goaltending issue. It's just good hockey that just happens to go the way of the Canucks. And in the other one, you know, I thought Carolina, again, they're up 3-1 in the third period. They're rolling. I'm like, they're going to go to Game 7, have all the momentum. They're out shooting the Rangers. And whatever Peter Laviolette said in the break, whatever Chris Kreider said, or some of the leaders on that group, what a third period from the New York Rangers to say, enough is enough. We're stopping this now. We're not going to Game 7. Kreider had a hat trick in the third. And, you know, the Rangers are going to sit comfortably in the first team into the conference final.
And later on, we'll get into tonight's games. But the Florida Panthers look to close it out at Boston. I have no idea whether they will or not. Regarding the number one story of the day, Scotty Scheffler being cuffed and stuffed for not obeying security and police orders, but then making it back in time for his 10:08 tee time. John Ohm is watching in Winnipeg. Ohm says, life happens. I'm thinking the Scotty situation is getting way blown out of proportion. Slow sports news day. Nope, sorry, John, you're wrong. The world's top golfer got arrested and went to jail for not following traffic orders and then showed up for his tee time. That's not a slow, that's probably one of the days that there will be a documentary done about this in 30 years. Similar a little bit to OJ. And I'm not joking. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says CFL football this weekend. Yeah, that's on Monday. We're going to get into that with Jim Barker next. Utah Darren writes in and he says, you need to follow police direction, especially when someone has been hit and passed away. Exactly. Where was it? Text line. I asked for the text. They've come in. Darcy in Grande Prairie, Alberta. I know it's Grand Prairie, but it's spelled Grande Prairie. He says, Arash Madani on Twitter, race baiting about this, invoking George Floyd. Disgusting. Two thoughts immediately pumped into my head about that when you read that or wrote that. Number one, it's shocking that Arash and I are friends because we are diametrically opposed on almost all of our views, right? He's very liberal. I'm very right-wing. Yet we're the best of friends. And two, if you get upset by what you see on social media, stay off social media. Write it down. If you get upset by what you see on social media, stay off social media. Darren, put that on the 108th floor of my tombstone, please. It is Football Friday. The NFL is distancing itself. I'm assuming I'm going to die before you. There's nothing saying, but why am I putting this on you?
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a very realistic chance you'll die before me. The NFL is distancing itself from Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, saying his views are not those of the NFL as an organization. Butker served as the commencement speaker at Benedictine College, a private Catholic liberal arts school, last week, and said most of the women receiving degrees were probably more excited about getting married and having children. The NFL says, quote, Harrison Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity. His views are not those of the NFL as an organization. My take? Being stupid or narrow-minded or even old-fashioned is not illegal. If it was, we would need stadiums the size of jails the size of Commonwealth Stadium or the Big House in Michigan, because we would have a lot of guilty people that are stupid, old-fashioned, and narrow-minded. Harrison Butker's that. So my take is, girls, you can be whatever you want to be. You don't need to... If you want to be a mom and a wife, do. If you don't, that's also fine. If you want to talk about a slow news day, that might fall under that. Not the Scotty Scheffler thing, but this furor. Is it much ado about nothing or not? What do you think?
Well, it's so shocking that in 2024 that he would actually say it. But, he believes it, and that's, whatever. That's his viewpoint. And to what you kind of said, you don't need Harrison Butker's permission to go and do the things that you want to do and accomplish the things you want to accomplish. He doesn't need the airtime, deserve the airtime. Those views don't deserve the airtime, and let's just make sure that, you don't let somebody else influence what you're capable of doing. Let somebody else's viewpoints influence what you're capable or want to do.
There's a lot of people that feel that way. By the way, it was a Catholic school commencement. Did anybody ask him his thoughts on gays? Thank God they didn't. There's a lot of people out there that think females should aspire to be barefoot and pregnant. The kicker of the Chiefs is one of them. Should he be canceled because of it? I don't think so. Just not listened to. Comment from Brian in Hudson's Bay. He says, Happy Football Friday, guys. From what I see, the Canucks are not kissing McDavid's butt. They are playing him hard, making life miserable for him, and the refs are allowing it for a change. And he says, I wouldn't recognize the golf guy either. Follow the law, buddy. Have a good one, guys. That's the point. We all got to follow it. You're not special. The problem with athletes and entertainers and the type of people that I mental health and, sober coach and recovery coach is that they've been treated special their whole life. So when the day comes and people say, you're not special, they have a tough time computing that. And why do I know that? Because I used to be like that. The laws do apply to everyone. Just so you know. Newsflash. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
Liar, liar. Stop breaking the law, a-hole.
The law. Exactly.
Yeah.
Get your football questions in now for Jim Barker. He's next from the CFL on TSN. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Questions coming in? Can we please bring in Jim Barker? Any questions coming in now, please direct them all to Coach Barker or GM Barker, however you want to do it. Coach, welcome. We got football this weekend. Everybody's excited.
3 days.
Monday, holiday Monday. Yeah, you noticed. It's Winnipeg, it's Sask. It's finally here, man. What's been your take so far for what you've seen at training camps across the land?
I think it's what's kind of been neat. I think teams have taken it slower than usual. They're not, they're trying to keep their guys healthy because I think it seems to be a little longer camp this year. So, again, you got people putting new things in. In Toronto, you've got new quarterbacks trying to learn a new offense. In Hamilton, you got a new offensive system and basically a change in philosophy, almost like what they're trying to do in Saskatchewan. So with that, you put things in slower and you make sure that the basics get put in. And so it's been interesting going. I've been to Hamilton twice and to Toronto twice. I'm so fired up about Monday night to be able to watch Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, and some of that both have big question marks that, you know, might get answered. I mean, again, I think that Saskatchewan left tackle is my biggest question. Do they have a guy there? They have a guy in Philip Blake, but they want to play him inside and give him a little more depth, either behind Severe as the sixth man. He could play left tackle. Last game he played in Toronto was in the Grey Cup as the left tackle. But they have 5 offensive linemen on their suspended list. So either haven't gotten there for whatever reason. That's the big question to me, because I don't know any of the guys that are going to be playing there, and it's going to be interesting to watch that for Saskatchewan. I also want to see how they deploy, because I think Corey Mace is going to deploy Anthony Lanier inside, where I thought he was dynamite. Actually, back in when I was with the Argos in 22, we're getting ready to play them, and they were playing him inside, and for that game, because of injury, they bumped him outside. And he just was never the same player since he's bumped outside. So I'm going to be anxious to see if Corey moves him back inside to play with Micah Johnson, be 2 veteran interior players that can stop the run. I know Corey's a big believer in you have to stop the run, and you have to be able to run the ball. So, you know, they have Jameer Thurman in there. I'm anxious to watch him. And on Winnipeg, Adam Bighill out. So for sadly, you know, for 6 games possibly. So are they going to move Kyrie Wilson, who's a true will linebacker? And for the people who don't understand, will linebacker has a lot more area to cover. He's got to cover wide receivers to the boundary side, where a Mike linebacker really has protection on both sides. So he's more of what they call a box player. The box is tackle to tackle. Kyrie Wilson, again, is more of a guy who runs, and you like that about him. Is he going to play Mike linebacker? Great question for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And, you know, I doubt they're going to play Willie Jefferson a whole lot, but they're trying to find a replacement for Jackson Jeffcoat. And they have basically a brand new secondary. And, you know, I know that scouting crew there does a great job finding defensive backs. So it's going to be interesting to watch some of those defensive backs, you know, play. So Terrell Ford is going to get a chance, I think, to start at corner, and that'll be interesting to see a Canadian playing corner. So there's so many intriguing things, Rod. I'm just so fired up about Monday.
Yeah. Well, that's one game. I mean, there's a lot of questions that have come in that aren't specifically geared to current affairs. There's some fun questions here that I'll get to if we have time. But I want to ask you this. A fan in Winnipeg rated the quarterback tandems from 1 to 9 in the CFL. And they had Winnipeg's Caleros and Strevler. 1 all the way down to 9 was Bo Levi and Powell and Hamilton, and obviously everybody else in between. One battle that I'm paying attention to Monday is the number 2 job in Sask behind Trevor Harris, because it sounds like it's not sewn up. That's one thing to watch. Who do you think's the top 3 QB tandems in the CFL right now?
Well, I agree with Winnipeg. Getting Strevler, that's another interesting thing about this game, is Buck Pierce is going to put some things in for Strevler that will take some of the pressure off of Zach Caleros having to be in there all the time. I mean, you've got a guy who's played a lot in the NFL in Strevler. He comes back to the league. He's a talented youngster. So they're going to put things in just for him. I would say that is the strongest combination in the league. Again, the next one, it's tough to say. I wouldn't think Bo Levi and Taylor Powell are the worst. I think Taylor Powell
I didn't either.
A good young player. And watching Bo Levi, I mean, we talked about it last week, how we thought it was at least I thought it was kind of dumb that they brought him out in a boot. He looked fine in practice. He threw the ball. I mean, he was as accurate as I've seen him. So if he's healthy, and Taylor Powell, I would put them up closer to the top. Again, Montreal, you have Fajardo and Caleb Evans. Cody, you know, which Cody are you going to get? And Cody, he's the Grey Cup champion quarterback, and he deserves all those accolades. Toronto, you can't, you had Chad Kelly, who was the MVP last year, and now you have Cameron Dukes, who is as big a question mark as anything. I mean, it's a big difference when you go into a game as a backup and when you go into the game and they're stopping you. He has trouble in the pocket, and it'll be interesting to see where he's dangerous is when he can run, and teams will defense him as such. Maybe not in the preseason, but when they get into regular season games, and at this point he's going to be playing 9 games. So can he get them through? So I would say that's just a huge question mark there. Ottawa, again, Jeremiah Mazzoli and Tariq Adams have not practiced. Drew Brown, what's he going to be? We don't know. We don't know. Anybody who says they know what Drew Brown is going to be doesn't. We thought Dane Evans was going to be something that he ended up not being. So I think there's huge question marks in Ottawa. But when you go out west, you have 5 starters that, Zach Collaros, you have Trevor Harris, you have Jake Mayer, you have McLeod Bethel Thompson, and you have Vernon Adams. You got 5 quality quarterbacks. Can they keep them healthy? McLeod Bethel Thompson supposedly is having a fantastic camp, and they got Curly Gittens healthy. I talked on this show. I didn't think he was going to be healthy. I thought he was going to start out on the 6-game list. With him healthy, their receiving core is, I'm not sure there's a better receiving core in the league than that, with Dylan Mitchell and Eugene Lewis and now Curly Gittens and Kyron Moore. And, it's just, it'll be really interesting to watch that group. So there's so many great questions, but I think the West quarterback-wise is so solid with starting quarterbacks. Then which is the best backup? I think your question on Saskatchewan's a great one.
Right. Well, I think the dude had this. He had 1 Winnipeg, 2 BC with VA and Jake Dolegala, and then 3 he had Edmonton with Macbeth and Trey Ford. And to be honest, I like that Jones finally got it. He went out and got a vet. He quit farting around with all these no-names and went out and got a guy. And he knows what he's got in Trey Ford, but now he knows what he's got in Macbeth. I apologize to those questions I can't get to, but there's just some better ones coming in. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I'm not hearing much love for the Stamps this training camp. That's a Calgary thing. Even though Huff's gone, if he is gone, I don't believe he'll ever be gone, but it's just a no drama, no frills, just do their thing. That's Calgary.
Right. That pretty much, that's the way Calgary's been. I think they have some big question marks in their lines, both their offensive line and their defensive line. They lost Derek Wiggin. They lost to Damo Berglund last year. They have a lot of questions to answer in their defensive front. They have Cam Judge back, and Micah Alwee, he's back. So again, are they going to be good enough on the offensive line to protect Jake Mayer? Again, Schultz comes in as the backup quarterback, and what is the Jake Mayer-Schultz combination? Where do you rank that? Again, I think Calgary's a team that you're going to have to see them early. They just have a lot to prove, and I just don't know if, up front, what are they going to be on offense? Are they going to put it all on Jake Mayer? Or are they going to, they don't have Kadeem Carey anymore. Is Dedrick Mills going to be able to carry the load? There's a lot of question marks there. But Calgary is, they're right in the mix in terms of their players and that kind of thing. But, there's so many teams in the West that, they have great questions because they have quarterbacks. And when you have a quarterback, it makes all the other questions easier to deal with.
Yeah, but do they really know what Jake Mayer is? I know I don't. And by the way, I spent the last 2 summers in Calgary, and the football people were unbelievable to me. And you know who all those guys are. And Ryan Thelwell, RJ, all those guys, Jabari Arthur. And they were like, hey, we don't start playing till the final third. Dickie will figure it out. They'll figure it out. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You need to play all 18. They're like, no, we'll turn it on. And dagnabbit, they did. But I just feel like one of these years, they're going to get caught doing that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And I worry about their receiving core. Like I say, there are huge worries about the offensive line. They moved up in the draft to be able to draft Christy Nakanu, and it wouldn't shock me if he's challenging to be a starter. So I just think they have a lot of questions and a lot of depth issues with Canadian players.
Ted in Red Deer, I'll ask his question because it's a good one. He wants to know, what did you like better, being a GM or a coach?
I like being a GM better. I didn't like being a head coach at all. My favorite thing of all was when I was an offensive coordinator. I love that. It was the years that I did that. If I would have just stayed doing that, I probably would have been a lot happier. But you have to go and try being a head coach. I just the head coach thing was. Of all the things, that was the thing I didn't like. I liked the general manager thing. And, one of the proudest things is just watching the young guys I had, Canadian guys who just wanted to learn how to do it. And to be able to bring guys like that along. And, Brendan Mahoney, who's in Calgary now, I hired him back in 2007. And, there's Chris Rossetti in the NFL. There's Curtis Ruckavina. There's Vince Magri. Those guys are just, that's what made me love being a general manager, was I got to work with young guys and bring them along and hopefully teach them how to watch film like a coach. I think having been a coach really helps you in being a GM. The problem is when you try to do both of them at the same time, there's no possible way you could. I don't believe there's a way you can do it. I really don't. I think you have to pretty much turn over one or the other. And I think we're watching that with, what Chris Jones, this is his year. He's going to have to produce this year and, as the head coach and general manager. So I prefer being a general manager. That's when I'm at my happiest.
It's funny what you say about being a coordinator, and unfortunately we're going to have to go here, but the personalities of the CFL, of which you're one, but like Etch, back in the day, with his pencil behind his ear.
Pencil.
Well,
pencil, not a pen.
Yeah, exactly. Lapo always said Etch was running the D, Lapo was running the O in Sask, and Etch would walk in with who he wanted and slam it on Ken Miller's desk. He's like, that's who I want. That's who's starting. And then he'd walk out, and Lapo's like, well, what's left? In terms of Canadians, where to start, right? There was no collaboration with Etch there. But somehow or another, we made it to a few Grey Cups. It was all right. All right, Jim, I can't believe we're out of time.
He was one of the great
thank you so much.
Etch was one of the great characters this league has had. He and I went to college together, and I brought him up here with Don back in '97, and he's just a phenomenal guy. And sorry he's not in the league anymore, because you're right. When you talk about a character, Gary Echeverry was the ultimate character.
And very popular with the ladies. Makes no sense, but he was. All right, Coach. Enjoy the game Monday.
All right, I will.
Right.
Thanks, Rod.
Jim Barker joining us from the CFL on TSN. I'm not joking, man. The guy had game. We'll be right back on this Football Friday. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV. The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy!
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. Remember that night that I yelled in the bubble at Bob? Great call, Bobby! I yelled at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. It is. In fact, it is. Thank you, Rick Regan. Welcome to Hour 2 of a Football Friday, and we've really covered it all. Let's please bring in Darren Moose DuPont. It's always a lot of fun. I'm so happy you got your Hanley Sabres jacket on. Mr. Anderson gave us this. I still have mine here, but I've been wearing it for workouts. That's a minor league football team, high school football team that I was doing work with in Canada for mental health, and I'm excited that I'm wrapping up last hour in Florida. I'm coming back to Canada next week. Moose, you've got this show next week. Will I tie things up here? What do you got planned? Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
What are you going to do next week?
We're going to have a lot of the same things we normally do. You know, we talked about, I've been kind of crafting a guest list with Clark to make sure we still keep our foot firmly on the gas of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But we're going to do a couple other things, get some of my friends on too. And one is I'm really looking forward to chatting with Devin Haru next week. We're going to do a little bit of an Olympic preview. Olympics are coming up in July, and I see all the Olympic qualifiers going on right now. So that's one thing we'll do a little differently is we'll do a little preview for the Olympics this summer.
That's pretty cool, actually. So it's a Football Friday. And I said that I was going to talk about Chad Kelly, and we will. What a story there. There is CFL football on Monday, and Jim Barker is just an absolute gem for this program because he's a football guy. He can talk about the things that not many people can, and he really gave a wonderful preview for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Saskatchewan Roughriders Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's last hour, so go back and rewind that. We covered that, okay? I'm not going to sit here and talk about it for 2 hours. Here's my deal. I'm going for, that's the Rod Pedersen Show, so I can talk about whatever I want, right? And whatever you want. This afternoon, I'm going for lunch with my guy, Chris from the Bronx. Our last lunch before I take off, we're going to PDQ Chicken. My turn to buy. I was invited to go to the Florida Panthers watch party tonight as they are playing Game 6 at Boston. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate it, guys, but I think it is my last Friday here before I take off. I'm going to go, I'm going to stay and watch it at home and chilling like a villain. This weekend, we're going to the Keys. Again, you know that's our favorite place, to the Keys for the weekend. And then I'll be driving back Monday, and we'll watch the CFL game at the wonderful CFL live streaming. They did such a great job of that last year. Watched the Grey Cup on it, too. And then taping Cats and Bolts podcast, and then getting ready to come home for the summer. That is the plan. John Frenzy's Celebration of Life is Friday, 1 week from today, and I wouldn't miss that for the world. And I decided, what the hell, I'm just gonna stay, because they're laughing at me here that I can't handle the heat. But I was like, you know what? I don't care if I'm laughed at. You know that, Darren. You know that. I don't care. Laugh away. I'm gonna do what's best for me, and that's getting the hell out of here if I can. Why does a dog lick himself? Because it can. Why would I go back to Canada for the summer and get out of it? Like, the sweat is just rolling off me. And as Serena said, it's not even hot yet. So she's like, get the hell out of here. You don't need to tell me twice. So that's the plan. Okay, everybody? and have some things lined up in Saskatchewan this summer that I'm really excited about. And I'll be able to follow CFL football, CEBL basketball, all the great things that I want to do. Because why wouldn't I? So, Darren, just a quick one. We haven't talked about it off the top here. Masters champion Scotty Scheffler was arrested this morning on his way to the PGA Championship. Cuffed and stuffed for not obeying police orders during a pedestrian fatality investigation outside the golf club at Louisville, Kentucky. It's only the PGA Championship. I'm sure you're on it. Do you see what his score is so far this morning? I think he's through 7. Do you see what his score is?
No, I haven't seen his score. How's he doing?
It might not be through 7, but he's tied for 7th at 2 under. So our poll question is, and Serena came up with that. She's so smart. She's so good. She's so talented. She came up with the poll question today because none of us dummy blockheads could. Her question was, how will the arrest affect Scotty Scheffler's, the world #1 golfer? How will it affect his play? Adversely, not at all, or it might help him. Darren said it might help him. Well, he's 2 under. So answer it however you want. Doesn't seem to have affected him at all. So there's that. Now, because it's a football Friday, I guess we got to the football topics. The NFL distancing itself from Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, saying his views are not those of the NFL as an organization because at a commencement speech at a Catholic school on the weekend, he said to the crowd, most of the women receiving degrees were probably more excited about getting married and having children. Just, it's his views. Let's just say at best that they're old-fashioned. Does he deserve to be canceled for it? No, and I don't think he will. He won't be canceled. The NFL said in the statement, Harrison Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity. His views are not those of the NFL as an organization. Can I just say this? Because I'm getting to the Chad Kelly thing, believe me. Maybe did COVID make everybody nuts? Did COVID make people go crazy? Because I feel like that's when everybody started getting canceled and saying stupid stuff. And whether it's this or the LGBT stuff, right? Like the rainbow tape and the kneeling. Well, the kneeling was going on before that. But you know what I mean? The cancel culture just took off during COVID. Deal or no deal?
To an extent, yeah. But, you know, the Harrison Butker situation, I don't feel like is cancel culture. I mean,
now they're trying to cancel
what he's saying, right? But I mean, he's doing this to himself. Like, you know, I'm kind of on the side of, you know, I'm really good at ignoring people and just blocking out what doesn't serve me. So when I listen to Harrison Butker's speech, I'm pretty good at, you know, saying he doesn't need my attention. I don't need to listen to him. What he says doesn't affect me. I can go out and do whatever I want, regardless of what Harrison Butker thinks, you know? So, again, I think the cancel culture where we fight back against it is when we're trying to cancel, and you know, people for no reason at all, or for reasons that are kind of silly. This is something that, you know, opinions like this probably don't fly in 2024. But again, he doesn't need our attention. We're not going to change his mind. He's going to think what he thinks regardless of what we say. So just don't give him the attention. And sure as hell, don't think that whatever Harrison Butker says will affect your ability to live your life.
All it is old-fashioned, period. That's what I think. I don't agree with it. I raised 3 girls, but tell them you can be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a wife and a mother, do it. If you want to play pro soccer or basketball, do that. If you want to, right, you can do whatever you want. So I'm with you on all of that. Regarding John Frenzy's celebration of life 1 week from today, John says, loving that respect for John Frenzy. Good on you, bro. Was never even a second thought. So, yeah, I'll be there for it. Colin in Ottawa says, man, Rod, will you come back to Florida if the Panthers make it to the Stanley Cup Finals? One day at a time, bro. As my coach and advisor said, leave yourself open. Don't lock yourself down to anything in Saskatchewan. In the event that you can come back, be flexible enough to be able to. And by the way, that's where I'm at. I got my green card, married an American, have my U.S. interests, but now I can come back and forth between the two countries freely from now to the end of time. Life is good. From AA7YA, that's the account on YouTube, writes in and says, the NFL still has Black Lives Matter slogans all over their end zones and helmets, so I think the NFL needs to sit this one out. With regards to Harrison Butker. Whatever. Rod Monroe, producer Clark's dad, says if the Riders are winning, fans will show up. It's been tough the past few years given the Riders being less than mediocre. They were painful to watch. Bingo! Well, they haven't made the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs for a long time. So I don't know where they took the turn to that, but that's okay. That's what we do here. We're inclusive. Utah Darren writes in and he says, Harrison apparently attended college. He should not be surprised to the reaction to his words, but he most likely wanted people to talk about him. I didn't even know his first name until this stunt. Well, he's got Super Bowl championships to his name. Pretty big deal. I guess the point is these players always held these opinions. I guess I didn't phrase it properly in terms of did COVID make people's brains fall out? You are entitled to your views, right? But I'm like, what? Why 30 years ago, Darren, which you were born, but you weren't probably paying it. Let's say 20 years ago even. We never had these scandals. We never did. What the hell changed? That's what I'm trying to figure it out today. Nobody's given me the answer.
What changed, here's what changed, is 20 years ago when you had issues like this, we had a pre-selected and curated group of people who were allowed to comment on it. You know, journalists, media, pundits, TV hosts, all the rest. And you had to apply for those jobs. You had to earn those jobs. You had to show that you could grow an audience to keep the job, to have a platform. And that's who was allowed to comment and really be the narrative on these situations. Fast forward to social media, you don't even need to finish high school to be able to comment on these things. I'm not saying that people who comment on these are wrong, but you can be 13 years old and have an account and comment. Now it's not the commentary of a few, it's the commentary of everybody. And, you know, I'm not even saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what's changed.
Okay, thank you. Because I got enough on my plate. I don't need to sit. This just dawned on me now. And thank you for answering it. It's not like you spend any time thinking about this either. You know, they often say social media is what changed everything, and that's true. Like, Natasha writes in from Winnipeg. She's watching on Game Plus television, and she says, thank you for taking a stand against cancel culture. People have a right to their opinions, and I love hearing yours. We don't have to be affected by what others say unless we choose to be. All of that. And the thing is, you better hope that the people in your leadership positions are strong and have a very open mind. Actually, this was taking me down the road of the Chad Kelly thing here, which, and I'm just, listen, the commissioners of your league, the managers of your radio and television station, the publisher of your newspapers, those kinds of people, because it's us public people that are getting canceled. Like, public figures are getting canceled. People tried to cancel Jim Barker for what he said here last week, but TSN wasn't buying it. Darren and I talked about that this morning. Like, I don't know anything of what conversations went on behind closed doors. I haven't talked to Jim, like, off the air since before last week's show, so I don't know how that went, but they didn't cancel him based on his opinion. And the one thing people need to understand, because I realize this, but my God, I've spent thousands of dollars on counseling and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, for my own viewpoints, because I used to be so bigoted and closed-minded. Somebody wrote in earlier and said, Rod, I have a tough time believing you ever thought you were special. Dude, then you just simply didn't know me. Because when somebody lines up, when there's a 2-block long lineup to buy my book on the Rough Riders and to get it signed, why wouldn't you think you're special? And that's why I'm coaching these guys, the athletes now. and entertainers and soldiers, but that's a different thing. But with the public people now, you've had people kissing your ass your whole life, and now they're not. Hard to deal with. Mostly it's the athletes, right? And a lot of guys don't deal with it very well. So I used to be in their shoes. So that's all, and I helped them through it. Now, perfect segue, and I got to stay out of the comments because I'm derailing myself. But to what was to be point 6 of my quick 6 here, Toronto Argonauts quarterback Chad Kelly has formally withdrawn from the CFL team's training camp. Pay close attention here, Darren. Kelly made the announcement Thursday in a statement provided to the Canadian press. The CFL's most outstanding player last year wants to digest the findings of the league-mandated investigation that figured prominently in his suspension for both Toronto's preseason games and at least 9 regular season games. Kelly said, quote, he wants to work to earn both reinstatement in the CFL and everyone's trust. I shouldn't read into this, but I do kind of know my way around the legalese of this. It sounds to me like an admission of guilt. That's just me saying that. That's what that statement sounds like from that story. What do you think?
Yeah, I read yesterday the statement from Chad Kelly, and my first thought, and I mentioned this yesterday, was why couldn't you make this statement on day one, like way back at the beginning? And I think you would have had more public support, or at least not support, but at least understanding, and you would have set better expectations. I think in the statement, now I want to go back and read it, especially if we're talking about the legal side of things, make sure I'm right. But, he talked about that. I want to be better. I want to work towards this. I'm going to take the training and everything else. But he also said, he wants to work because there was something in there that led me to believe that he still wants to kind of fight this a little bit, that he thinks that, what's being accused isn't fair to him to a point. But he's saying the right things in the release. It's just the timing of it and waiting so long is the issue that, keeps me scratching my head a little bit.
John Ohm says Pinball probably told Chad Kelly to disappear for a bit. Well, he could have disappeared and not said anything. So I've been falsely accused of things, and I protested like crazy. I know there's that phrase from Macbeth, I think doth thou protest too much, meaning you're guilty. No, I wasn't guilty, and I protested the hell out of it, and I wasn't. Different situation entirely, but also not really. And I haven't read the whole statement, just a snippet of what I just read on the air. I should probably go read it all. And it's unfortunate that this is the number one topic in the Canadian Football League right now. And I got a break right now, but I want to just point this out before we come back. Things are shifting, so you better get on board or get out of the way and figure out how to ride the wave. But Darren, I was in Johnny O's this morning, and they have this digital advertising thing, digital board, and it said, coming up after these commercials, let's say NBA playoffs, MLB highlights, WNBA story, PGA championship, I was like, WNBA is now getting more higher billing than the NHL. Everything's getting a higher billing than the NHL playoff. I'm just pointing that out. I'm not even making a statement on anything, but what I'm saying is these leagues are jumping ahead. Pat McAfee got in some trouble, too, with some comments about the WNBA this week. So we got a lot to get to when we come right back. Dan Giancola is on the way, too. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience in the
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Yo, everybody, reward your love of movies by signing up for Landmark Extras for free today. We talk about it once an hour, so if you haven't done it yet, what are you waiting for? They got them all across Canada. With Landmark Extras, both Moose and I have them. I'm going to be wearing that sucker out all summer. Get more of what you want. Free movies, concession items, special events, invites. We've done it all. Guy, hey, Moose, did you see the Joker 2 isn't coming out until like November? I was in the movie theater the other day and I saw I saw the poster of, is it River Phoenix or Joaquin Phoenix? Joaquin Phoenix. And the Joker thing, and it's not till November. I'm like, why are you advertising it already? You're just teasing me. It's mean. But I know I'll be there to watch it with my Landmark Extras membership. We have not, a couple things. I just wanted to point out, and I thank you, Rob Scott, for counterpointing this out. I said the WNBA's now got higher billing than a lot of other sports leagues in America. Rob Scott writes in, and he says, the NHL is still getting top billing here in Vancouver. Well, I would expect that it should. You're up 3-2 on Edmonton and on the way to the Western Final. But in Canada, all NHL teams will be top billing in their cities 365 days a year. That's the way it is in America. In Canada. The odd thing in America is it's mostly NFL in each cities, but they actually do follow the other leagues. It's wild. Crazy, you know. Rob says, that same guy, Rob Scott, says, maybe it was the Grizzlies moving on, but basketball's a niche interest on the West Coast. Hockey, football, soccer are way ahead. Hoops has the same level of interest as single-A baseball here. I'm sure you're right. But it's just, my real estate guy, I was doing a sale in Canada, and he's like a 30-something guy in Saskatchewan. And he goes, what do you talk about on your show? And I said, we talk about sports. He goes, do you talk about the NBA? And I said, very rarely. He goes, well, that's what I'm into. What? 30-something guy from Saskatchewan, that's what you follow most, the NBA? And he goes, I'm not a real sports guy. I was in Toronto, went to a Raptors game, got hooked. So there's a little something for everybody. You know what I mean? That's with sports and with this show. And I just want to point this out. Speaking of cancel culture, that girl, female Sarah Sivian on Twitter? Clark, I'm sure you do. She follows us on Twitter. I've never met her. I don't even really know what she does. She's with Bleacher Report, right? She went after McAfee the other day, which is odd for Sarah because she doesn't usually start fights. I follow her, but I don't know her. And McAfee was saying on his show, there's some really good players in the WNBA. I didn't know until I started watching. I don't know if you saw her comment on that. She's like, you get paid too much not to know that. $5 million a year at ESPN, and Pat McAfee's just figuring out that there's good players in the WNBA. And I think it just triggered something in her. I mean, everybody loves watching the Twitter spats, but you don't want to be in one because you look like an immature punk. Like, I don't know what upset her so much that he would say that. It's like me watching the Professional Women's Hockey League. It was on Valley Sports Florida, so I sat down and watched it, and I was like, damn, this is pretty good. I didn't get canceled because of that. It was a compliment, and I kind of think that's what Pat McAfee was trying to say, too. What do you think?
I agree. And, for her to say that, I saw the tweet. I didn't really think anything of it. I thought it was fine. It was funny. If she was going after him, great. If she was just making a funny comment to get some clicks or just you get paid too much to know this. You get paid too much not to know this. You should know who they are. I don't know if she was really expecting that Pat McAfee should know the WNBA. And Pat should just understand that, which I'm sure he does. I get paid because I'm entertaining, and I get paid because I know what's going on in the NFL and college football. Like, I get paid what I'm worth. And the WNBA, he knows that his bosses aren't expecting him to know the WNBA, So it is what it is. But, there's always going to be those comments, and you can't expect anything from it.
Navy Dawn says, remember when Sports Illustrated said hockey was going to overtake basketball? I actually don't. But it'll never, ever take over basketball. But hockey is way, way more popular in America than you would think. $6.2 billion revenue last year, full arenas, 97% capacity. Hockey's bigger than you think, but it's not as big as those others and never will be. Allie in Texarkana says, I think she used to be with Nashville, the Preds, maybe? I don't know. I like her stuff. I follow her. She follows me. She likes the odd thing that I say, and she's cool. But for whatever reason, she had issue with McAfee. John says, I watched the RP show once. Hooked for life. That's the whole idea. We've been saying it since year one. We are the black tar heroin of sports talk. Take one hit, and you can't say no ever again. We're coming up on our fifth anniversary, starting year 6 next month. Unreal. Hang on a sec here. Allie in Texarkana writes, she goes, I'm just tired of waking up and seeing who we're supposed to hate today. I'll say this. I had a coach here in Florida that just a couple months ago, Darren knows this, and I shared it in a 12-step meeting. If this can help everybody, this is why I'm passing it along. Lisa's her name. I've been working with her for about 3 years. And she goes, you need to release the anger. And I thought, what am I angry about? I don't feel like I'm angry. Oh, yeah, I guess there is. She's like, oh, yeah, you have it, and you need to release it. And I thought, well, I don't want to be angry. And secondly, is it that evident to you that I'm in? And she's like, yeah. So she helped me with that. And also, it's like, why? Darren knows all of this intimately, so I'm just saying, you can participate in that or not. And I've just said, why? I don't want to be like that. Ted, okay, a couple things. Just back to this, of course, being a Canadian show. Donnie, watching on YouTube, says, rest in peace, Dutchie. a great Sasky boy. Here's a great example of what I'm talking about. Some jackwagon writes into rodpeterson.com, Darren, yesterday. Just so you know, I had stuff to take care of as I'm leaving the States here next week, so I had stuff to take care of. So we did the show. We talked a lot about Darren Nutrition yesterday. I went and got a haircut. Thanks for noticing. Not. Had lunch. Come home, log into our website, and there's some guy that says, no comments on Dutchie on rodpeterson.com, and that would have infuriated me for at least the rest of the day, if not days, that some guy would write in and say that. But I'm like, hey, donkey, we just talked about Dutchie for 2 solid hours on television yesterday, but you come to my website and there's nothing there and you're pissed off about it. Oh, release the anger, Rod. You need to release the anger. Right? You're never, ever, ever going to please them all. Never. So stop trying, because you'll always be chasing your tail. Ted in Red Deer says, what CFL team has the largest fan base? My guess is the Bombers, currently followed by the Riders. And I see people saying that's a coin flip. But, hey, it is a Football Friday, and I say any football-related topics you guys want to bring up, I'll address. I'm going to say this full on. It's still Saskatchewan. But I don't know what metrics you would use. Wait, you're saying what has the most fans? Right now, Winnipeg's the flagship team in the Canadian Football League. Right now. But your question is, who's got more fans? It's Saskatchewan. I'm sorry. Deal or no deal?
Yeah, deal. Flagship franchise doesn't equal most fans. It's a combination of things, from merchandise to public perception to attendance to wins to TV ratings to, it's a number of things, and they're all weighted a little bit differently. But in terms of number of fans, yeah, I don't think that's changed. I think Saskatchewan still retains the belt there.
Well, and here's the funny thing. Brent from Wellington, Florida, has just showed up and says, oh, boy, broke out the pin the tail on the donkey. Happy Friday, y'all. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, Brent, but he was with me when this happened. Like, when we say who's got the most fans, it's not something I can arbitrarily sit here and say. Because when we started the Cats and Bolts podcast, my guy Chris from the Bronx, who I'm going for lunch in an hour and a half with, said way back in September, he's like, who's got more fans? Because he's a Rangers fan, by the way. And there was some story, Chris probably watching right now, his high school girlfriend dumped Chris for Ron Duguay, something like that. So he has a bit of an issue with Dukes. Yeah. But anyways, he's like, who's got more fans, the Panthers or the Lightning? And I was like, I haven't really been here long enough to know, but I'm going to look into that. And I spent all season trying to figure out who's got more fans. And then Brent and I went over to the playoff game in the Battle of Florida, plus a regular season game. And we're like in Tampa, and he's a Panthers season ticket holder. And we're sitting around going, ooh. Tampa's got way more fans. Now you know. You know what I mean? And they're like, the Panthers got a ways to go. And why is it? They've won 3 Stanley Cups. The Panthers haven't won any. I don't really know why that is, but the Lightning have way more fans. And again, that's not obviously something, the discussion for today. That's for the Cats and Bolts podcast. But the question was, who's got the most fans in the CFL? I just think historically it's Sask. And it's the reason of this, man. And we're going to go to a break here right away. Hey, who's your picks tonight? Florida, Boston. Who do you got? I'll take Florida.
I'll take Boston. Too much pride. They'll extend it.
Okay. Dallas, Colorado. I didn't ask why. I just asked who. Dallas, Colorado.
Dallas.
You're going to take what? You always pick Colorado.
Until I don't.
Okay. Darren takes Dallas. I'll take Colorado. Squirrel. I have absolutely. Do you remember what point I was making right before I said we got to break and get out of here?
I don't. I'm just as bad as
you. Barely even remember what the hell we were talking about.
You were talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning having more fans than Florida.
Yeah, and they've won 3 Stanley Cups. Panthers haven't. The Blue Bombers, because I used to have this fight, not a fight, but you know Jordy from the Keg, the owner of the Keg, big Bomber fan. I believe they've got 10. When we argued about it, they had 10 Grey Cups and the Riders had 4, but they've won 2 cents. So do the Bombers have 12? Oh, yeah, that's my point. Thank you, Rod. And thanks for helping me land the plane, Darren. You actually did a little bit. They've got the Jets with competition there. NHL is big league. It is. And we often wonder why Sask and the Riders are so popular. I didn't realize it until I went through Mississippi and Alabama this summer. It was at Christmas. It just felt like summer. There's nothing else in those states, and that's why the Crimson Tide are so big and all, Auburn, all those places, all they have. And in Sask, the Riders are their NFL. It's their NHL. And for that reason, plus there's more expats and all the rest, it's bigger. And that's not as a guy that worked for the team for 20 years. I've done a little studying on this. Okay, Darren, we got our picks. Have a great week.
You too. Enjoy the time off.
And long weekend. Thank you. Dan Giancola joining us next for a wonderful update, the former Argos and Bills kicker. I'm going to guess he's a best-selling author by now. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, welcome back to the RP Show, everybody. On a Football Friday, we've got a sports update coming up, and obviously our final viewer takeover of the week. As I said, this is my final hour in Florida, taking next week off and then coming back to Canada for the summer. At least that's the plan, unless the Florida Panthers should happen to go to the Stanley Cup Final or something crazy like that. Oh, wait a minute. They did just last year, so it could happen. But our next guest, let's bring his beautiful mug on the screen. Dan Giancola Jr. is a former place kicker in the Canadian Football League, also had a cup of coffee with the Buffalo Bills. And if you look at his Wikipedia, Lions, Renegades, Alouettes, Bombers. But we all think of you as an Argo. By the way, am I saying it right? Giancola? That's how we always said it, Dan. Is that the proper pronunciation? Be honest.
There's a million ways to say it, man. You know, the Italian way is Giancola. I've heard Giancola. So, you know what, man? You're good.
How do you say it? There's one right way. How do you say it?
I mean, I've always said Giancola. Giancola. Okay. You know, sometimes I even catch myself saying Giancola, but you know, I've always said Giancola.
Okay, gotcha. Gin cola, like you're ordering a drink, which I wouldn't.
And there you go,
but,
right?
It's
like,
funny
yeah, the side of it.
The first time we had Dan on, Dan literally said, I'm not sure if you remember me, Rod, but I played in the CFL and you called my games. I'm like, what do you... Tells me how humble you are. Dude, I'm surprised you know who I am. But you came on
man,
and you told the very touching story. What was the event you had? Did you like was it the Widowmaker? But what was it that you said, the event that you had with
yeah. I had the Widowmaker, which was a complete blockage of my my main artery. And, you know, I thank God I'm here. That's all I have to say.
You're
and
right.
then that was followed by...
Continue. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, no. And then that was followed by, like, that was 2020. And then 2022, like right here in my studio where they both happened, I had a massive stroke. And, you know, both of them I had, unfortunately, I had the biggest magnitude of the two of them. I had the Widowmaker, and then I had a grade 17 stroke. And if my buddy didn't find me here in the studio that night, I would have been brain dead and died within 45 minutes of my stroke. And so, yeah, it's been a pretty crazy couple years.
Right. So we can say, to sum it up, massive heart attack, massive stroke, should be dead.
Yeah.
And so you came on to talk about your book. So what's the update since the last time we chatted?
You know, man, honestly, Rod, it has been absolutely incredible. And that's the God honest truth. I've been so many places. The last thing that I did was breakfast television in Toronto with Sid. And it was absolutely amazing. And being on that show, we sold 1,800 books in a matter of 2 hours, and that put me over the 5,000 books. So yeah, we're bestseller, and you know, as proud as I am of it, thank you. As proud as I am of that, and this is me just being real. I think you've known me long enough. The impact that I've had on people's lives, especially men, to be honest with you. They're saying, you know, if it could happen to you, I mean, You keep yourself in fantastic shape. This is what you do for a living. You're a personal trainer. I had no signs of a heart attack, no signs for a stroke, and I had them both. And so many people have messaged me and saying, after I read your book, I just decided to go to the doctors and just get checked. I had no symptoms like you. And there's 5 guys and one woman that actually messaged me and said that when they finished reading the book and they went to the doctors, they actually went to the hospital and they had to get stents. They actually had to get stents. Like they didn't even know that they had blockages of their heart. And ultimately, this is so nice, but it's bringing awareness, and that's all I wanted out of this book. I got goosebumps because that's what this book means to me.
Guy, so am I. So am I. And as a matter of fact, when I do, I know what that means. So I'm going to say this to you. This is God saying to you, I saved you, Dan, twice. So what are you going to do about it? Right?
Exactly.
How are you going to pass it along? And it sounds like you are, which is really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has really helped me and catapulted me, especially my motivational speaking now, where like once I was just talking about this guy up here and, beating the odds to play professional football, yada, 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 yada. And, initially when I first started writing the book, that's what I wanted it to be about. And then Perry Lefko, I know you know Perry well, made a decision and said, hey, man, if you're going to do this book, let's do it right. And I think you really should be like beating the odds on the football field, but beating odds in life. And that's what this book's about. And we're now talking to a few people about doing documentaries. So, and one producer in California, and I'm not allowed really to say too much yet, but we're talking about a movie, and it's so cool. I'm blessed. I'm honored. I'm absolutely honored. I'm over the moon right now.
You deserve it. Can I be the broadcaster in it?
Oh my God! I was going to say that to you. That's great. Honest to God, I should have said it before. I said, man, I got to bring all the people that have been with me. The producer asked me, he says, who do you want to play you? And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't think anybody's nutty enough out there to to actually, to play me, because I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. But man, you totally have the role of, as whatever you want.
I'm sorry to say, I shouldn't have jumped in there. You know what came to mind was Arthur Fonzarelli, Henry Winkler, but he's too old. He's too old.
He's too old, man. No, I'm not that old yet. Not yet.
No, the Fonz would have been great. Well, think about it.
Absolutely.
Ryan in Saratoga, New York, writes in and he says, Dan Giancola survived a widowmaker and a massive stroke. He's one tough dude. God bless him.
Yeah,
and as I say, God saved him. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, man? Honestly, man, you gotta be tough up here and here, your heart. But with that said, I think you said it the best, and thank you for saying it. I really, truly believe, when you have two of those things, and in both cases, I was by myself, talking to the doctors, he said, the heart attack, 97% of the people would have died from that if it wasn't for the strength of my heart. And the stroke, that ultimately, that was just something. They don't even know what the cause of it was. But ultimately, I had 45 minutes basically before I was brain dead. And thank God they had me at the hospital, like that. So, really, there's a reason for me to be here. And I've always said everything in life happens for a reason. It's hard, really, Rod, to sit there and go, okay, well, I had two of these things. Like, I've been a good person for the majority of my life. I'm a pretty good person. And why the hell would this happen to me? And I had to take a seat back and just say, all of a sudden, these beautiful things. I'm on your show, not once, but twice. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys did not have to do this. And it means a lot to me. So thank you for that. And also, for meeting so many people, outside of being that guy and being more this guy. And, to be an author. And My wildest dreams. I would
Best-selling
if
author.
I had $1 million, I'm telling you.
Best-selling
It would
author.
have never happened. Right? Like, that's just crazy.
You got
man. It's crazy.
You got to add that in there. Listen, I could go on with you for hours, and it's funny because the last time you were on, we went over time too, and we were all sitting there just spellbound by your story. But I got to get with you. And here's a couple Toronto football guys of your vintage that you would know their names: Mike Abu-Meshrik and Luke Mullender. And we talked about doing a movie of this show, and they talked about who will play themselves. And we said The Rock would play Luke, and Abu says, well, John Hamm would play him. Like, yeah, right. Luke, no. Luke brought up Sinbad. He's like, Sinbad will be you, Abu.
Oh, that's great.
I know.
That's
when football
fantastic.
guys get together, it can be harsh, man. Listen, Dan, congratulations on the best-selling. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
Everything does
that
happen
means
for
so
a
much to
reason,
me. You got
man.
no idea.
Yeah. Well, you deserve it. Let's keep in touch, and I hope to see you this summer. I'm coming back to Canada, man. But I'll just say congratulations
Please
so
let
far.
me know, okay? I'd love to see you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a lot of great stuff coming, too, your way as well. So I'll say congratulations in the future for that. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
It is always a pleasure. Just feels so good talking to Dan Giancola, Grey Cup champion, Argos kicker, and former Bills kicker as well. We will be right back with a viewer takeover after this on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This is it. This is it. Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. I didn't put their hat up today, but come give us a shot at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Kids got the itch. They want to get out and shoot some pucks. Head on down there or stop some pucks. Fully licensed bar and restaurant for the parents as well, if that's your thing. 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. Give us a shot. Overtime Hockey Lanes. I'll get into the sports update in a second. Everybody's asking me similar questions. Greg in Calgary writes in and says, hi, Rod. After your holiday, are you going to be taping the show from Saskatchewan? Yes, I will be. Who else was it here? Where the heck is it? Oh, it was BW. Where are you landing this summer in Canada, Rod? Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan is where it's looking right now. Although it will be probably all over the province, but home base will be Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah, that's about it. Natasha in Winnipeg writes in and she says, Sask fans are the best. See you Monday. You won't. There's no show Monday. Moose will be back on Tuesday after observing the May-long weekend stat holiday. Is that Victoria Day? Do we know, Clark? Do we know? I apologize. It is. Well, thank you. Didn't tell him what he's won, Bob. If Clark and I are wrong,
that?
Keep it to yourself. We did our Stanley Cup Stanley Cup playoff picks tonight. I've got Florida winning tonight. Boston. Darren has Boston. Darren has Dallas winning at Colorado tonight. I've got the Avs. It's quarterfinal Friday at the Centennial Cup. Navan, Ontario, taking on Miramichi. Winkler playing Calgary. The winners advance to the semifinals to the teams that had the byes today, Collingwood and the Milford Mustangs. Tampa Bay Rays visit the Blue Jays tonight, opening a weekend series. NBA, the Knickerbockers of New York are at Indiana. The Knicks lead that series 3-2. And, hey, Jim, thanks for checking in, my dude. I'm glad I hit refresh. Jim Young, number 30. BC Lions, great. Former Viking as well, writes that he says, I survived a heart attack and stroke in 2012. An alum reached out and said it would take 4 years to get back. He was right. That's from the Hall of Famer, Jim Young. What the hell's with you and Giancola? We got to get you. What are you doing with it, Jim? Again, that's God saying, I saved you. What are you going to do with it? Ron in Calgary writes in and says, another great show. What else is new? Go Cats and Stars. Yeah, the hockey's been fun. We'll be watching the Riders and Bombers on CFL, whatever the hell they call it. CFL Plus, CFL Live, whatever it is, Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to that. BW in Edmonton says, Oilers win on Saturday, Rod? Listen, don't follow me for betting advice. I had Carolina making it to the Stanley Cup final, so I would think it's only right. But the better team's winning that series, and don't get mad at me. And that's the Vancouver Canucks. Didn't hardly watch Vancouver at all this season. Damn, they're good. And Rick Tocchet, I know it's tough on Oiler fans, which, by the way, it's got Serena all upset. I just let her be. That'll be the day that I allow a sports team to affect my mood or a sports team to affect her mood, affect my mood. Not happening. Stacy at Access World Headquarters. Great week, Rod Squad. Have a great long weekend. And more than anything, be safe. We are heading down to the Florida Keys this weekend, and that's going to be great. Donnie writes in and he says, I hope you all have a great, safe, long weekend. God save the Queen. We have to change the song. It's God Save the King. Paul and Humboldt. Dan Giancola, I enjoyed your book. Looking forward to the movie. See you whenever, everybody.
Who has more fun than us?